Welcome to the American Dream as we talk about things that are happening in Portland. The American Dream is a real estate and lifestyle show. So I'm really excited via Zoom. We're with the times now in this COVID environment to share some stories about what's going on in the Portland marketplace. Joining us on the show, they're award-winning realtors and they are our partners in the show who bring the voice to Portland real estate. We have Stacey Stokes and Kim Parman with Living Room Realty. Good to have you guys on the show. How are you?
Good, thank you.
And usually we go out into the marketplace and we're sending videography crews and we're showing off why Portland's such a great city today. Obviously, given the environment that we're in, we're with the times. We wanted to highlight what's happening with local businesses, with restaurants, and really how we can help those who are going through some challenges like all of us are in the restaurant industry. So joining us, Analisa Maceda and George Kading with Campana, an Italian restaurant there in Portland. Good to have you on the show as well.
Thanks for having us.
Look, I'm an entrepreneur myself. I'm the CEO of Ignite Media, which produces the show, The American Dream. So I am a business owner, and my heart really goes out to everyone in this space, certainly in real estate, and you're helping a lot of people, Stacey and Kim. It's a really challenging time. It's a time where we have to pivot, we have to innovate, we've got to survive. And I know that restaurants are probably being hit as hard as anyone. So I hope, if anything, we get out today of how we can help and how we can be a value to these restaurants in Portland. So as we do that, let's talk about you guys in the real estate industry going into this COVID. You wanted to highlight them. I'm just blessed to be the interviewer here of this story. But Stacey, why did you have this in mind for a story to share?
Well, Portland's made up of a lot of small businesses. I think that's a unique charm of Portland. So, I'm hoping we can pull everyone through this together. And I'm curious about how they're innovating and what they're doing to keep moving forward. And I found people have been creative and some solutions to continue to keep their business open as long as possible.
Yeah, and anything we can do to help. So let's talk about Campana. And I have to admit, I've only been to Portland twice, both times for bringing the show to that marketplace and highlighting people like Kim and Stacey. Next time I come in town when we're allowed to be around each other, I'd love to come there and support the Italian restaurant. But tell us a little bit about it. What's your guys' backstory?
Well, we're both from New York. We were both in the restaurant industry in New York City. We kind of got to a place where it was time for us to head out and search for another place to live. And we wanted to open a business together. And we didn't really see that happening in New York. So we traveled for quite a few months, came out here to visit some friends and ended up not going back, and worked on a business plan for a few years. And that was almost 6 years ago now. We originally opened in this space, Grand Army Tavern, which is named after Grand Army Plaza in Brooklyn. And after a few years of that concept, we started to road test the idea of Campana, which opened in August. And we've been kind of doing two concepts out of the same space. And we were in the process of transitioning into changing Grand Army Tavern into Campana when we were forced to shut. So yeah, we just turned 3 last week as a business. So it's been an interesting year so far.
Well, I hope that the people of Portland can stop by your restaurant. Where would they find you? Because I know you guys are still selling some things, you're wholesaling some things. Is there anything online? How can we help you guys specifically? Where are you?
We're in Northeast Portland, so we're kind of far up there. You drive a little bit farther and you're in Washington, but we are right on MLK, which is kind of a major thoroughfare, but we have an online store. So we collect orders over the course of the week and we have a scheduled pickup every Sunday. And, we take requests for certain things, and we have a pretty loyal core crew that have supported us no matter what we do, which is tremendous. But yeah, every little bit helps. We'd love to have people outside of the neighborhood that really want a lasagna or some hand.
I was going to ask, I know you're an Italian restaurant. What's your specialty?
Well, right now it's take and bake lasagna, and I think we're going to sell like 50 of them this week, which is a lot of work. But yeah, that's been the big winner.
Lasagna is one of those things that when you order it or if you attempt to make it at home, it's great for leftovers too. So that's something to keep in mind. There's an added value to lasagna. I appreciate you guys coming on the show and just sharing your story. What is your website? You have an online store. Where can people go?
You can find us at campanapdx.com.
campanapdx.com. Well, I hope people can support you in any way, shape, or form. All right, let's switch gears. Let's talk a little bit about the real estate market. I know going into COVID, real estate was doing really well in Portland. Kim, I'd like to direct this one at you. What impact have you seen?
Well, we're still a pretty hot sellers market in Portland, which is surprising to a lot of people who are not super familiar with real estate. A lot of the buyers and sellers I'm speaking with assume that we've taken a dip, and we really just haven't as of now. What we're seeing, though, is a lot of transition to doing everything online if possible, doing everything remotely with video tours, utilizing technology a lot more, and honestly, just having a lot more really in-depth conversations with clients. Everything is taking longer. Every conversation we have with buyers or sellers is a much longer conversation because emotions are really high right now when people need a lot of care and attention. It's still a service job. So we're spending a lot of time being counselors.
I've been positioned with this show to go to 52 cities, some of them multiple times, to find the best realtors in every city to be the voice of their market. And it's been a great pleasure having you and Stacey involved in our world. And in this crazy marketplace, I think that knowledge is power. And you've heard that term before, but it's just more important now than ever. And it's fascinating to me, having been to all these cities, to see how the real estate environment is functioning differently in all these cities. And this may not be accurate, but you almost validate the thought. I feel like in Portland, from the real estate side of things, they're still going well. I mean, it's you say it's a seller's market. Most buyers probably think, oh, let's get the deal. But if there's low inventory, seems like from my point of view, activity is still happening in Portland. You're just having to be more creative with how you navigate that market. Now, again, I'm saying this from San Diego, but that's how I'm interpreting it, which is different than I'm hearing in a lot of other cities. What would you say about the market, Stacey?
Yeah, I think Kim's spot on. I talked to her this morning, and she had one of the ladies that she works with did a deal with a buyer who she had never met from beginning to end, which is weird because we're in a people business, so we're used to building those relationships. So it's a lot different when you can't get close to your clients. Sometimes you don't meet them in person. You're doing more video walkthroughs on homes. So yeah, lots of adapting.
How are consumers responding to that? I think as industry professionals, you guys are leaders of the industry. So times like this just force creativity, innovation. On the other side of it, buyers and sellers, how are they receiving these advancements of ideas, this pivoting and as Kim referenced, new technology and virtual tours? Are they pretty responsive to it, confused by it, a lot more hand-holding? What do you think?
It's a more hand-holding for sure, more education, but they're doing really well. I think especially Portland is very sensitive to COVID and taking it very seriously. So the buyers are very understanding of the new procedures we have in place for showings and wanting to stay safe and keep everybody safe as well. So I think more so than ever, they're looking for guidance and are receptive to that.
I also think that there's some mourning going on because people have this dream, especially first-time home buyers, of what this process is going to be like, and walking into their home and falling in love and touring a lot of places, and that's just not possible. So I do see some grief from some clients, honestly.
Yeah, no, my next question was going to be, what is the psychology of people? Because we're talking about the process and what's happening in the market and the how-to in this incredible environment. But are people in fear now? You mentioned mourning and grief. That's an interesting one. But what about motivation? Are buyers more motivated now because of low rates? Are sellers more motivated because they have to? I'm sure it's a bit of everything, but what are you seeing generally?
Generally, I see very serious buyers and sellers out there, which kind of makes it nice because we're working with people that really want to move. So we're not weeding through people that are just kind of on the fence. So the people that are out there are very motivated and moving forward.
Kim?
Yeah, I see the same thing. I think the people who need to move, and the people who don't are staying put. So I've had a lot of conversations with people who've decided to hold off or change their plans. And I've also had conversations with people who are very seriously on a timeline now and really need to find something quickly.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. If somebody is buying, they're obviously, if in this environment, they're motivated to do so. I think one of the motivations is low interest rates. The unfortunate part about bad news is bad news, the market getting hurt. The silver lining, I believe, is that mortgage rates are at historical lows. When there's bad news in the economy, it tends to be very good for mortgage rates, which lowers the cost for buyers. For sellers, if you're moving now, you probably have to, you probably want to, whether it's a job transfer, you're having another kid, whatever it may be. So I think you're going to find more motivated people. I don't know if there's a better time in history where it's important to find a professional that knows what they're doing. And this is exactly why we've chosen to align Kim and Stacey with our show. We call them the power players of Portland real estate. There's a reason for that. Thank you so much for coming on the show, sharing some information about the marketplace. Analisa and George, I wish you guys the very best. If you could give your website one more time, if anybody wants to be able to support you, buy some Italian food or anything else online, where could they go again?
CampanaPDX.com.
CampanaPDX.com. And then Casey and Stim for you as well. If anybody has any questions about real estate, whether they see this on the show or this gets distributed somewhere in this digital social media world, how can people connect with you?
We both have websites at Living Room Realty, so Kim Parman and Stacey Stokes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on The American Dream. I know these are very challenging times. I can't wait till we can do a segment at Campana where you guys are taking us there and showing us the Italian dish and eating it with us. But until then, let's support our local businesses. Let's support their American Dream. Everybody's on a tight budget now, but if you do have some spend, help the local businesses out. And if you are looking for something bigger like buying a home, well, make sure you connect with the right professional. Everyone, thank you so much for coming on the show. Great panel. And that's all for now. We'll catch you on the flip side. Thank you so much for tuning in to The American Dream.
Thank you.